Okay. Hello, and welcome to Don't Die Before You're Dead. I am your host, Merri Macartney, and this is where we talk about all things related to living the life you are meant to live. And of course, that means different people or different things to different people. We all are walking a different path. And that's no different for my guest today. I'm excited to have a very dear friend join me today who has a wealth of information to share. Lori Lococo is a current city councilor with Niagara Falls Council, and she is running for re-election this year. I met Lori, many, many years ago, probably, it's got to be at least 15, if not a bit more. And I have watched this young woman go from primarily, I suppose when we first met, she was working as an admin in an office to becoming a leader of a very large organization with Toastmasters. And now Lori is into politics. So I don't know about you, but I'm really interested in the transitions she has made. So welcome, Lori. I'm so excited to have you here and to learn about your good, bad, trouble, whatever, the good stuff that you've been up to as you're going through in your various career choices. So welcome.
Thank you so much, Merri. It's really exciting to be here. I'm always happy to talk with you, and it's very interesting to be on your show and to talk about where we're going on the paths moving forward and how our previous choices in our career and our personal life take us where we're going.
Absolutely. And I know you probably didn't think you would end up where you are today, but we don't see where we're going, but we can certainly see the building blocks. And I was amazed that watching you as a young person you were when we first met, moving into that really important leadership role in Toastmasters, that's where you and I met. And although there's a considerable age difference, you taught me so much. You were a great mentor for me. What did you see yourself in your Toastmasters journey? Like, you covered a lot of territory there.
Thanks, Merri. I'd like to say that you were a great mentor to me as well. It went both ways.
Thank you.
I first joined Toastmasters because I was afraid of public speaking. I didn't want to talk in front of people, and I was very nervous. And there was a change in my job at the time. I was working more with the lawyers I was working with, and I found it very intimidating. And in September of 2001, a brand new club in Niagara Falls, Honeymoon City Toastmasters, was opening up. There was an article in the newspaper, and it talked about having the confidence and the skills about public speaking. And I thought, well, I need that. And I decided to drag my poor friend Charlene with me. We went to Honeymoon City Toastmasters, and right from the beginning, I could see that there was something there for me. It was a little odd when you look at it from the outside. Everybody's so positive and they're clapping at everything that you say. But the more that I went, I saw that there was a format and building blocks about public speaking, being more confident. And I found myself feeling more confident, and then I found myself saying yes to more opportunities, more roles, more leadership roles. And I was in the club for a few years and worked on some leadership roles at the club, and then moved on to the area level, the division level, the district level, and that's where we met. And
right.
all of those skills and opportunities just kept building. I always say that every meeting you go to, you can always learn something. If it's something different, a different style, you can learn something at every single meeting, every conference, from different people. And from there, I was the district governor for our inaugural district.
Can I step in for a minute, Lori? I think it's important to note that, anybody who knows Toastmasters knows kind of maybe our structure, where we are top leaders of one organization. When I first met you, Lori, you were actually sort of in transition of Toastmasters itself. So you were kind of like in a co-chair leading position because our districts had grown and were splitting. So that to me was really a remarkable year for anybody to take on leadership, because in a co-leadership position with opening up a whole brand new district, you had things in your leadership role in that event. You were the first district governor of the brand new district. And that was really something to watch as you had to make those kind of decisions moving forward. What was it like for you, going into unknown territory with a whole new district?
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work. I worked with a lot of other district leaders, past district leaders, about what they did in their past, and I tried to get information and solutions and programs together of what worked well. There are other districts around the world that end up splitting into two because we grow so fast, and I would
Mhm.
talk to the other leaders and find out what worked for them. And we had usually you have a group of 3 people and they move on to the next year. Well, our group was 5 people instead of 3, and then we broke up into 6, and you get 2 people. And it was an amazing opportunity to be the first district governor, the inaugural district governor of our district. Like I said, it was a lot of work, some trial, some error. You know, you have new ideas. Do you want to try them? How are they working? Toastmasters is really a tried and true recipe. It's a tried and true direction. And, you know, you can move away a little bit here and there, but it was a team approach. We had a lot of support, a lot of different people, and you were one of the people on my team that supported our brand new district.
It was incredible for me because in a lot of ways I was still very new to Toastmasters, and I was really sold all out for the leadership experience. And with you at the helm, I realized that, I would learn a lot from you in a leadership role. I can remember a situation where I got to participate in, a little bit of a tricky situation where, it was necessary to be very compassionate, very understanding, yet follow the leadership, the requirements of the district, and to handle that. And I have to tell you, Lori, and I'm sure I've said it before, but I got to say it again, that I found your manner to be such a fine example. Your heart was in the right place, and your mind was sure of the right moves, and your ability to communicate so well to this individual we're talking to. You exemplified leadership and all of that. And of course, that isn't where you finished in the Toastmaster organization. Tell us what you did beyond that, having gained those kind of skills.
I think the thing with Toastmasters is it is as much as you want to put in. If you put in a little, you get a little. If you put in a lot, you get a lot. And the more you're involved in Toastmasters, you learn new things that you didn't even know that you're learning. And you brought up a great example of that. There was no rule book of how we were supposed to deal with that particular situation. And I think it was a group effort of all of us working together in a very delicate situation. So each one of those opportunities give you an experience that you can work towards later. And then after the district governor year, it was a supporting role. And then I thought, well, where do I want to go next? What do I want to do? The next logical role in Toastmasters was an international director. And that really appealed to me in the sense that it was an international role. You had the opportunity to work with people all around the world, different cultures, different races, different countries, it was just amazing. And I did run for international director. It was a 2-year role. I sat on the board of directors. There's 14 international directors. And at that time, we were serving and supporting 250,000 members around the world. And to me, the experience of running for international director and the actual role of 2 years, I learned so much in those 2 years of working with people, supporting people, finding differences and bringing all of our differences and things that are the same together. And it was an amazing, amazing experience.
Because I was there and you allowed me to be involved with you, the one thing I can speak from my experience with you during that time is I realized how prepared you were, how you had set aside time for all the leaders of the organizations in the world, that you actually, over the time of, I think we were there 3 or 4, well, more than that, 3 or 4 days, but you saw all these leaders from all of the organizations and talked to them, and you had done that ahead of time. You got to know them personally, you asked them their challenges. So it wasn't something that you took on lightly. You took on a responsibility to know that you were going to be decision making beyond just the local arena, but you were going to be making global decisions that impacted thousands and thousands of people. And it was impressive to watch how you orchestrated that. The 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 movement through the different groups, the three leaders of each district to come through and to meet with them, and you had something for them as a takeaway, and you were more interested in how you could help them than in just telling them that you were campaigning and you were running. You were really a person for them. And I admired that so much, Lori. And I can see that you're moving forward into the political arena. Seemed like such a natural fit because you have a real heartbeat for people. What kind of things were going through your mind as you were stepping out of that Toastmaster role into a community service role?
Thanks, Mary. Yes, it was an amazing opportunity to be at that level, and I had a whole team of people, and you were one of them that supported me. And once I was finished my term as international director, I really had to decide what did I want to do after that. I could have continued on with Toastmasters in leadership role, and the ultimate position at that time would have been the president of Toastmasters International. I did look at all of the commitments that it would take, and I wasn't retired. I couldn't, it was all volunteer. I couldn't commit another 7 years from where I was to get to international president. That was part of my decision. And I thought, I've learned all of these things with Toastmasters, all of these skills, all of these ways of doing things, all of the ways of connecting with people and communicating with people. Why can't I bring those skills to my own community? I've always been very involved in my own community in Niagara Falls, and I thought using those skills would be wonderful at my community. So I looked around, and it was City Council that would be a next logical step for me. I researched the role, figured out what was needed, and then I started doing some research with individual organizations to learn about them. What were they looking for in a city council? What could city council do for them? So that was my transition from Toastmasters nonprofit to the political arena. And I didn't consider myself a political person at all, but I did want to serve and support my community.
One of the words, I suppose, one of the phrases that I used often with you because of knowing you so well and working together. And I have been blessed by your input on some of my own endeavors, my own business plans, because I always thought you had an insight that saw beyond. You could extrapolate into the big picture. But one of the things, or the phrases that I found I used with you a lot was, of course you did, because you are a person that really does your homework. I mean, as a retired teacher, I thought, wow, what about having you in a class and let people see what doing your homework really means? But you would go out and you would investigate. You would do the due diligence. You would come prepared. And you'd say, well, I went and did something. And I'd say, well, of course you did, because that's who you are. At the core of things, you don't go off thinking you know something unless you absolutely do know it, because you do the homework and you go check it out. And the fact that you've gone into the political arena, now you're running in this election, and I already said that you were a current councillor, but this current session, if you want to call it that, really isn't your first experience with the council. So what have you been doing with regards to learning and doing the due diligence to become the councillor you are?
Thanks, Mary. One of my mottos is be prepared, and you've talked about that. I always like doing my homework and looking at different perspectives. I don't have all of the answers. There's many answers, many perspectives out there, and I think when you're running in politics, you'll find that there's no black and white. There's not even gray. If you think there's only 2 perspectives, there might be 6 perspectives, and it's really important to go out there and learn about all of those and talk to people. As a current city councillor, I do a lot of reading all of the material that's provided to us from our staff, and then I go out and do extra homework to learn about those perspectives. And I think by doing that, that really helps you to understand the whole situation and have all of the information to make a decision. It's a really heavy responsibility to know that you're making a decision for all of the residents. Some of the things
Mhm.
that I did run in 2014 for city council, and we have an at-large system. We take the top 8. I think in 2014 we had 34 or 32 candidates. They take the top 8, and then that's your council. I was number 9. And I thought, well, I still want to be a city councillor. And for those 4 years, I went to council meetings, every single council meeting from 2014 until the election of 2018, to learn about what was going on in our community. What is the relationship with our councillors? How does our team work together? What do you need to be a city councillor? And that's what I did from 2014 to 2018. And then I ran again in 2018. And I was fortunate to be one of those 8.
Well, you definitely exemplify homework. You exemplify due diligence, preparedness. Those are all the things that I watched and admired about you through Toastmasters, that you really don't just take the role lightly, that you feel responsible. You felt responsible for all of the Toastmasters. You walk the talk, you set the example, and when you were looking at something, you didn't take an easy way out. I mean, sometimes it could have been painful to kind of back off and say, look, I need to figure out what's going on here. You did not jump in and give off the top of your head kind of answers, but you always let us know. And you always followed through. You always let us know that you were coming back, you would be prepared, and you followed through. And I think that's a big thing in today's world, that we see a lot of people that are quick to jump in, but the follow through seems to be missing. So not only did you spend 4 years as an unelected resident going to all the council meetings to get in the know, it's almost like going and getting a university degree to become the city councillor that you are today. What have you enjoyed the most, or what has been most challenging, or both questions? Take your pick on being councillor in the last 4 years.
Okay, thanks, Mary. I think I've enjoyed dealing and working with the residents of Niagara Falls. Everybody has different things that are going wrong, different problems. They're looking for some solutions. But I'm going to go back to Toastmasters. One of our leaders told me when I was going to be district governor, he said to me, you're going to have people that are the squeaky wheel, that are very loud in what they want. But remember, the decisions that you're making are not for those 2 or 3 loud, squeaky people. The decisions you're making are for, it was it 3,000 people at that time? I think it was
at least. I thought it was 5.
Maybe it was 5,000, but the idea was that you can't just make a decision for the squeaky wheels, the people who are in front of you talking about their problems. You have to make that decision. And I always remembered that, because I brought that along at the international board, and I brought that into city council, thinking the people who are talking about their problems, yes, they're valid, but they're only the people who are being vocal at the time. So I have to think about whatever we're doing is for all of the citizens of Niagara Falls, not just the vocal ones. I think for me, the most rewarding is working with people and trying to help them. If you help them, that's great, that's a win, but sometimes just even being there for people, to listen to them and respond back to them, even if it's maybe not the answer that they want to hear, at least they know that you've replied back to them, whether that's through email, sometimes text, Facebook Messenger, Twitter. People just contact us through whatever way is easiest for them. But if you respond back to them and you have some compassion for what's going on, some of the issues are very challenging, and we have rules, guidelines, bylaws that we have to follow. And maybe it's not the answer that they want to hear, but if you can communicate that back to them to let them know that you care, our staff care. And I think that that's really important. I think the other thing that I really enjoyed was looking at different initiatives. We've had some of the same councillors on our council for quite a number of years. If you have the same people, you have the same thoughts, and maybe you don't do some of different things. And I think maybe bringing new ideas, things change in the community with economics and the pandemic and that sort of thing. Bringing new ideas is very exciting, and those are things that I really appreciated working on. some of the challenges, I think, are also some of the benefits. Is working with many different people, you have many different perspectives, and you're not going to please everybody. So that's the downside. And I think the other downside is, because this is not a 9 to 5 job, it's constant. People will call you at 10 o'clock at night, at 7 o'clock in the morning. And I have to realize that a lot of people work office jobs. They work 9 to 5. And when they can contact you, it is after 5 o'clock. It is on the weekend. And sometimes I really have to section time off, that this is the time I'm working. This is the time for myself and my family. And I have to make time for myself. But it does give me a flexibility of time for myself and my family that way too. But I'm sort of on call all the time.
I also see, Lori, that you're very involved in your community, doing all kinds of things. And the fact that you're able to attend some of the functions, to be out there in the public, meeting people, they put the face to the name. It's not just you're some occupier of a chair in the council chambers, but you're actually out there participating in the events, meeting the people firsthand. And I know that you're very concerned about people, and it shows. And I'm sure you have people that come up and are thankful that you're a part of Niagara Falls. Personally, I think that Niagara Falls is very lucky to have you there as a counselor, and I know what you're bringing to the table for them. And when is the election up and coming? This is in what, 2-3 weeks now?
No, the election is October 24th.
Oh, I've got the wrong one, don't I?
Yes, you're talking about the provincial. That's 1 second.
I apologize for that.
That's okay.
That's true. Yeah, it's the fall. So where do you see things being different for you? You have, from my understanding, of course, now that I just messed that up, you have different, they're not departments, what do you call them? Different, pardon me? Committees, different areas that you are serving, and some you've chosen, some you've been perhaps asked to join. Do you see much of a change going forward? What is it that speaks to your heart? I think, knowing you, I think you're in the arts. Your heart beats for the arts in Niagara Falls. But what are some of the things that you've been doing with your committees?
I do sit on a lot of committees. Our council is given the opportunity to choose the committees that they would like to sit on. And I've been fortunate to be on quite a few committees, and I've learned from every single one of them. As you said, the arts, I am on the Arts and Culture Committee, and that has really come to fruition this year. Well, probably at the beginning of 2023, but we've been working on having a new marketplace and an art hub. It's called the Niagara Falls Exchange, and that's being built right now. They're putting on the final touches, and hopefully will be finished towards the end of the year, beginning of 2023. And that's been a long time coming. We had a lot of artist feedback, resident feedback, and it will house our weekly market. And we will actually include a supper market, which we've never had before. And it also has a performance venue. I think of up to 250 people that can be in there. And then we also have another building that will have a cafe. There's a maker space, like a woodworking section that people can borrow tools. There's an art gallery in it, and then there's studios that artists can rent. And it's really exciting. It's something that our community really needs. We didn't have a lot of that in our community. That's really one exciting committee. I also sit on the anti-racism committee. That committee is brand new this term. I did bring up a motion that we should look into having an anti-racism committee and a diversity and inclusion committee, and our council agreed. So we do have those 2 new committees. That one has been very interesting for me to sit on as a support for the committee. I'm not there. I can't share the experiences of people who are on the committee. I'm there to support them and help them. That's been an eye-opening experience, especially with all of the things that are going on in our community. Most recently, the shooting in Buffalo. I feel
that's pretty cool.
Very, very close to home, and just very hard to fathom. There's a few other committees that I do sit on. I sit on Project Share. I used to sit on Project Share as a resident before, but now I'm sitting on as a city council representative, and that's our local food bank. A lot of times we just think about the food bank, you hand out food, but they provide so much other resources, whether that's housing, assistance with electricity, dental care. Like, there's just so many programs that Project Share helps out with. So I'm very fortunate to continue my service with that. I also sit on the Niagara District Airport. That was something new for me. We have a little airport between Niagara Falls and St. Catharines. It's technically Niagara on the Lake. And there's a lot of movement in there. And because we're a tourism city, I think that there's a lot of expansion that we can do to bring more people into the community. That's been a real learning experience. Really enjoyed that. I also sit on the library committee, and I worked at the library when I was 13, 14 years old as a page. I would put the books away, and I'm not really a reader for entertainment or for leisure. I read to learn things. I'm always reading, I'm always taking notes, and I've learned a lot about the library and the services that they bring to our community. So that's really exciting. What are some of the other committees that I sit on?
Wow, that makes me tired just listening.
Yeah.
I don't know how you fit it all in and still have time.
It's like you said, if you're prepared, they say if you want something done, give it to a busy person. I have to make sure that my schedule will handle it. The Heritage Committee is something new for me as well. I'm learning a lot about heritage, and again, trying to bring different ideas and a different perspective. But we have all of these different choices of what we can do. And as you said, you go out in the community and you meet people, and knowing that these extra things that maybe you wouldn't have known had you were not part of it. And then in addition to that, I try to get out to other events and things to meet people and support our residents.
So what you're saying is you're a busy lady. And of course, I've always known you as a busy lady because you do enjoy that. And you talk about taking notes. I learned a lot about you with taking notes because you have a system that works for you. I know that reading is something that you have spent a lot of time doing just to make sure, again, it's part of that preparedness, Lori. Just sort of, we're getting to kind of wrap things up a little bit, but as we're coming somewhat to the end, I'd like to say, of the COVID experience, how did that really impact Niagara Falls, and how did you see council able to bolster or encourage or kind of help people through some difficult times for such a big tourist industry?
It was very difficult for Niagara Falls. We're a tourism industry, and we had 40,000 people that were affected and did not have jobs when the pandemic was at its peak. And that was very challenging. I think one of the things that we learned is that it is hard to have one industry in your community. And I think what we need to do is look at attracting other industries to Niagara Falls. So we have different types of sectors that if this was to ever happen again, it's happened before. We've had SARS, the SARS, and there was one other one, and we were closed in Niagara Falls as well for that. So it really did affect us. The hospitality industry, the restaurants, the servers, the casino. The casino, usually we get around $21 million per year from the casino that comes into our community, and it was closed. For 1 year, we didn't get any money, and then the other we got partial. I think the big lesson is diversity, that we're not just focused on tourism. We are tourism, we have to support that. It does provide an income for many, many people, but I think we do need to diversify in the economic drivers that we have and invite different types of economies here. So that was one lesson. I think for us too, we are a two-tier municipality. We're a lower tier, and we have the Niagara region as the upper tier municipality. We deal with some things, the Niagara region deals with others. The health was dealt with the Niagara region. So we had sometimes we couldn't deal with things, we had to go to the upper tier. And that was a lesson about, what we could do and what they could do. I think our staff and our council really tried to support our residents, our small businesses. We waived some fees. We lessened penalties for taxes. We had extensions about when people could pay taxes. We allowed permits for different types of businesses, say for patios for restaurants, because restaurants were closed, you couldn't be indoors. We do have a business development department, and they really tried to work with people to help them fill out applications for government funding and give them all the information. People were really on edge this whole time. They were losing their business, they lost their job, they could be losing their health, their house. Mental health was an issue. I tried to post as much information for our residents so they knew what was going on, where to get information, where to get resources. And I hope it was helpful to our residents. It was a very trying time for a lot of people, and we are coming out of it, but I do know that there are a lot of people right now still feeling the difficulties of not having money for almost 2 years, not having a job for 2 years. And we're here to help. And if we can help one person, then it's worth it. If we can help bigger groups of people, that's great too.
Right. Well, it is brighter days ahead. And Lori, as you are looking to lead your campaign through the summer months here and leading into the election, what is it that's the most important thing, if you can narrow it down a little bit? What do you really want people to know about you and what you're looking forward to as in this next 4 years as being a counselor? What's really speaking to you that you're looking forward to and you want people to know?
I won't make promises to people about what I can do. I'm one person of a council of 9. But what I could promise is that I will always do my homework, I will be prepared, and I will be there to advocate for you if you have any difficulties, any challenges, any questions. If you contact me, I will follow up with you, and it might not be the answer that you want, but I will try my best to assist you and advocate for you. So that's what I can promise. I think looking forward, we really have to look at affordable housing. I think that that's a multi-level issue at the federal government, at the provincial government, at the municipal government, and our second tier Niagara region. I think council can be doing some things to assist with affordable housing. We have done a few things here in Niagara Falls, which I'm very proud of. Affordable housing is definitely an issue. In the environment, there is climate change. We have to do things, and I think here in Niagara Falls, we need to balance sustainable development with the environment. The environment is very important, or we're not going to be here. We're not going to have the quality of life. Those are some things that I would like to work towards.
Well, like I said before, I think Niagara Falls is exceedingly lucky to have you, because I know what you're bringing to the table. Even though I'm not a resident of Niagara Falls, I've worked with you long enough to know that you are a quality person. You have transitioned from an office work to a leadership role in a nonprofit organization in a provincial. Our district was provincial, into the global arena, and now into politics. What do you say to people who thinking that maybe transitioning from one career path to something else, like, I can't imagine you'd be running again if you didn't find it personally rewarding?
I would always suggest for the person to list all of the things that they've done and what kind of skills they've got out of the roles that they've held, the jobs, the careers. And I was just speaking with a lady the other day, and she says, I don't think I don't have enough of the skills. I don't think I'm experienced enough for it. And then she started telling me all the different things that she did. And I pointed out to her, well, from that experience, you have this, this, and this. From that experience, you have this, this, and this. And she sort of looked at me and thought, I do have those real experiences. So if you want to do something, research it, figure out what the role is, figure out what you have to offer, where are your strengths, where are your weaknesses, and build on those strengths. If you have family support, it's always great to transition from one thing to another if you have that family support. And make sure it fits within your life and what you want to do and your goals, and go for it.
Well, I'm so happy that you went for it, Lori, and I'm excited to see where you go from here. I know that you didn't think about city council when you were in your office or starting off with your Toastmasters career, and you know what's down the road, who knows. I wish you every success. I think you have a strong voice in city council, and people should know that you are a person who not just brings your own opinion, but you will bring a voice from people that you interact with. So I look forward to seeing how things are going forward, not just for the election, but for you personally, Lori. I am just so thankful that we met, that you have shared your life with me, and I wish you all the very best.
Thank you so much, Mary. I really appreciate your time, your friendship. It's been a wonderful opportunity getting to know you and all of the things that you bring. You have taught me so much. You are one of my mentors, and we work together very well. And that was one of the things I really enjoyed with Toastmasters was the camaraderie, the collaboration, and you build on those skills. So thank you again for having me today on your show. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Once again, it's Merri Macartney with Lori Lococo, current city councilor of Niagara Falls, and running to be a councilor for another 4 years. So you go, Lori, and Niagara Falls, you are blessed. And I appreciate you taking the time to be here, Lori. I know how busy you are. And thank you for sharing the personal side of your life as to who you are and how you've come to where you are. Because, we have a lot to offer one another. And, who knows where our paths are going to cross with other people. And, it's never too late. Live the life that you want to live, but also the life you're meant to live. And Lori, I think you're doing exactly that. So thank you for sharing that with us. And for the rest of you, take care, and we'll talk next time.
Thanks, Mary. Have a great day, everyone.
You too.